Hey, good afternoon, and welcome to Rick's retirement journey once again. Uh, After a fantastic weekend, we're rolling into the beginning of the week. For those that still have to work, it's the beginning of the week. For those of us that are retired, it's just another day being retired. Um, but no, overall, a really good day today. Had a appointment, medical appointment I had to go to, and everything seems to be working well so far. So that's one of the, that's a good thing. But today, slightly different topic. I think a few days ago or a few episodes back, I talked about 10 things that, excuse me, I really don't care about anymore because I retired. Well, here are some things that I do care about, or I can care about more now that I'm in retirement. So I'm going to work off the same format, the top 10 items per se. Some of these may apply, some of these may not. Everybody's got their own list. Just happens to be my list today. So let me start off with number 10. Keeping my stress levels down. I've got a Garmin watch, and I can, check my heartbeat from time to time and just see if things happen to stress me out a little bit. Things that stress me out: bad drivers, sometimes bad weather, news. I don't watch a whole heck of a lot of news, but the main thing is that I try to do my very, very best to keep my stress levels down. I know stress is not good for the heart. Stress is not good for the mind. Stress is not good for the family. So that's the very first thing that's on my list. I got it as number 10. It could be lower, but yeah, keeping my stress levels down. I don't like to get stressed out. If it's 10% on the stress level, that means it's like 90% not on the stress level, so I don't have to worry about it anymore. So let's keep rolling. Number 9. I love to read. I love to write. I can care more about reading and writing and finding time to do that. Whereas in the past, I was always so busy doing so much other stuff, scheduling time for this, scheduling time for that. But something that I really do care about now is just breaking into the library that I have and start reading a whole heck of a lot more. I have an eclectic taste of interests, and in fact, I actually went to a book sale today at a local library, and yeah, I did buy a few books here and there, and I may even discuss some of those a little bit later in this same video. But yeah, I care more about doing a little bit more reading, a little bit more writing, and just kind of capturing notes and maybe some things for archive purposes, historical purposes, and things like that. So that's another thing that I do care more about in retirement, or I can care more about in retirement. Let's roll into number 8, downsizing. Yes, I care a lot more about downsizing nowadays. As I walk throughout my humble abode, walk throughout the yard, walk throughout the garage, and we'll talk about the garage here in a little bit. Have started to do a lot more downsizing. What clothes have I worn? What clothes have I not worn? Do the shoes still fit? When was the last time I wore that pair of sandals? How many coats do I really need for winter? If you're like Buzz in Ohio, yeah, you probably need quite a few coats. Get all those layers going, right, Buzz? But at the same time, downsizing. So I'm looking at a lot of different things. And of course, I have to work with my better half and see, hey, sweetheart, is it okay to get rid of this? Do not do it arbitrarily because that could get me in trouble. Don't do it arbitrarily. That could get you in trouble. But yeah, downsizing. It's one more thing that I can look a little bit more into and start doing a lot more of. Let me go to number 7, volunteerism. I'm quite sure that some of you out there are already starting to volunteer now that you've got a little bit more time on your hands. There's a lot of different places, just in case you haven't thought about it. Sure, you could volunteer for the Red Cross, a food bank, at local schools, homeless shelters, or whatever the case may be. But volunteering is good for the soul. Volunteering, kind of shows that you care, and this is something that I like. I like to be able to care more about what's going on in our society for those people that need it, and in some cases, that little extra bit that you can give, helps out, somebody else, helps out a society, helps out our society as a whole. In fact, one thing that I do, excuse me, is I volunteer at the National Museum of the Marine Corps. It's down the road about 10 miles. You volunteer when you want to, how long you want to, which is a great place. Plus, being a retired Marine, I love Marine Corps history. But I think one of the main things is that I like when people come in and you can actually tell a story to them. So no matter what branch of service you were in, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard, Space Force. I'm not sure if they have a museum yet, but I'm sure they will in the future. If you have an opportunity to be a docent or give a tour at a facility like that, great. If not, maybe a historical battlefield or something, a botanical garden or something like that. Whatever your interest may be, by all means, make it something, cool and great for yourself, and just go out there and do a little volunteer service. One thing I care a lot more about, and I cared about it in the past, but maybe a little bit more so, is financial aspects of, my life, our family's lives, retirement, as a whole. How far will my money take me? How is my money building or growing? I know that Steve talks about it. I know that Buzz talks about it, and there's quite a few other people that that talk about their finances and things like that. But one thing I've started to delve a lot more into since I've retired is looking at our financial situation. CDs, 401ks, IRAs, just basic little high interest rate savings and things like that. So yes, I do care about my financial journey right now, and maybe even more so now that I'm in a retirement status and not, working anymore. Let's roll to the next one. Projects. There are so many projects I care about, and just to name a few, cleaning out the garage, working on my fence, working on my deck. 3 big ones right there. I'll do a little bit here and there, as the year progresses. But now I have more time, to do my projects, and I care a lot more about really getting into the meat and potatoes of it. Instead of working a Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, 8 to 4, or whatever the case may be, and just having the weekends to do that. Now I've got a lot more time. And the good thing is that if you've got a large project that needs to be completed, I don't have to plan it over a 2-day period of time. It's almost like, especially if it's a big project. How do you tackle big projects? A little bit at a time. How do you eat an elephant? A little bit at a time. So I'm not going to be, worrying about it, but I do care more about the projects that I have, maybe doing a little bit more planning about it and things like that. And just kind of, giving myself a good estimation as to, how long it's going to take and things like that. I have more time to think about it. And that makes me feel good, so I can care more about the projects that I'm going to do. Excuse me. Gardening. We've got tomatoes, we've got peppers, we've got cilantro, we get some herbs, some additional herbs, things like that. But yeah, I'm looking at experimenting a little bit more with gardening. Like I said, I care a little bit more because I've got more time to do that. So, hey, I'm going to put in some carrots just to see if they're going to grow. Other things like that. But yeah, I care a little bit more because I have more time to dedicate to that. And even if it's like an hour a day, just going out there, do a little weed eating or whatever the case may be. Yes, I care a lot more about gardening and seeing what kind of produce we'll be able to get, as we, get closer and closer to the fall. So yes. Next thing is travel. I think this is number 3 on my list of, I guess it's 10, travel. My wife and I, we love to travel. We like going different places. We like eating different types of foods. We like learning about different types of cultures and things like that. Just listening to, different types of music. You could say, and I used this word earlier, we have an eclectic taste as far as travel, food, and things of that sort. This past weekend we watched a documentary with Rick Steves, and he had mentioned a book, and I didn't bring the book over here with me. It's about travel as a political act, or something to that effect, right there. And the documentary that we saw, I think it was on PBS, was about him traveling, but just getting out of your comfort zone and going out there and seeing, what other parts of the world are all about. He did it when he was a lot younger, and it was a very interesting documentary. And he basically tells people that he highly recommends that people go out there and do that and just learn different things. Besides Rick Steves, my wife and I, we watched a small documentary by this lady named Samantha Brown, and the topic, Route 66 from Chicago to, I think she had gotten down to Arkansas or Kansas or something like that. And the different sights, the different sounds, the different little places, for food and things like that. And that's actually one of the things that my wife and I would like to do, is to travel Route 66 from Chicago all the way to Santa Monica, California. So it is on our bucket list. It may not happen this year. In fact, it won't happen this year. Maybe next year, maybe 2027. But we're caring a lot more about where we'd like to go and travel and things like that. Well, that was primarily domestically, but another program that we're watching is with Eva Longoria. She has a program on CNN, and last night we viewed her program while she was in Galicia, Spain. The food, the music, the culture. We're actually talking about maybe going over there, or maybe possibly some other place, and experiencing different culture for about a month, and just hanging out and maybe learning a little bit of the language, and just slowly become like a local, even if it's for 30 days. So yeah, travel much higher on the list than it was in the past, because we have more time to do that, and we really care about going out and seeing different parts of the world. This next one is important not only for me, but I think for all of us that are retired. It's about your health. Like I said earlier, I actually had a health appointment today. They're checking my blood, they check the ears, check my prescriptions, overall mental and physical well-being, how I'm doing. But I'll just say that when I stepped on the scale today, I was a little surprised. I had actually lost some weight, and I'm saying to myself, I must be doing something right. And for me, it's primarily staying away from junk food. I don't eat a whole heck of a lot of chips. I'm eating more vegetables, more fruits. Not overindulging in things that, once I'm satiated, once I feel full, I stop there. We went to a barbecue place the other day, and I'll just get the 2-meat platter. I didn't even finish half that platter. Towards the end, got a box, brought it home, ate it yesterday. And so those are, some things there that I'm kind of looking at. Drinking a lot more water, making sure I take my meds on time. I take very, very few supplements, maybe vitamin D3, vitamin E. I do take a baby aspirin for my heart, 81 milligrams, the low dosage ones. But overall, she said, the doctor said, yeah, you seem to be doing pretty well. Blood pressure, good. So far, everything's going very, very well. But take care of yourself now that you're not worried about so much other stuff. And you can lower your stress. You can travel a little bit more. You can do some more reading and writing. If you're doing well financially, something less to worry about. But take care of yourself. Health is important. Health is always important, and it's something that you just need to, do. Stay hydrated. That's also key. This last thing is probably, well, for me, it's the most important. When you're working, 8 to 4, 9 to 5, you get up in the morning, sometimes before your children go to school, and then you get back home after your children are, out there, back from school, they're playing with their friends. For those of us that have had to sacrifice time away from our families and we get home late at night, it all boils down to one word, and then I'll add another word afterwards. It all boils down to family. For me, not that I never stopped caring for my family, but I care for my family even stronger now. I see them more now since I've retired. I can text them more. I can call them more. I can visit them more. And it has really touched my heart a lot. I think in the last video I spoke about my grandson graduating, which brought together our family for a huge, family event. Youngest grandson graduating from high school. Awesome news. But the other part of that is friends. Always cared for my family. Now looking at being more interactive with, the friends that we do have. Caring for my friends a little bit more. When are their birthdays? When are their anniversaries? How are they feeling? Dropping them a note. Shooting them a text. Just seeing what's going on with them. I have some high school classmates that I keep in contact with, and one in particular, her husband's not doing so well, but I happen to shoot him a postcard every month, like clockwork. Basically, wishing him well, catching him up on a few things and things like that, and he's grateful for that postcard that comes in every month. It just shows that that someone cares. So whether it's family or whether it's friends, make a little bit of an extra effort to care for them, to wonder about what they're doing. We'd like to think sometimes that the world revolves around us. Well, I think as we grow older and wiser, we find out that it doesn't. And as much as we'd, like to just kind of negate everything, just be our own person and say, hey, I'm retired now, this is my time. We as people, we still influence others that are around us. People that know us, people that, want to hear from us, people that care for us. And that as I'm finding out more and more people that I care for them as well. So, I think that was about 10 topics right there, but I just needed to kind of get it just the opposite of things that I don't care about anymore because I'm retired. Well, these are 10 things that I care about more, things that I'm much more aware of a little bit more. I know the word care may be maybe not the right word, but yeah, those are things that I'm looking at. Your list could be different, but that's my list for today. It's been a great day so far. I'm feeling good. FYI, it was peanut butter jelly time today for those that know the song, and it was good. The sandwiches were glorious. So that's it for now. I ask that you please like, comment, share, and subscribe if you haven't done so. And until next time, Rick out. Closing it out.